going to take home the lap style? We're going to find out here in about an hour or so. Welcome to Wednesday night coverage of OSR Live right here on the SRN network. I'm Sean Fitz alongside producer John Long. Hope you're all doing well this evening. Again, Wednesday night action here at New Hampshire with the Xfinity drivers getting ready to take on this iconic track here. Jim Ott getting ready to head out and take on a couple laps here. 2 laps of qualifying, 5 minutes to get your fastest time in. Jim Ott, one of the fastest drivers in the circuit here for the Xfinity drivers. But one of the guys that everybody's going to have to worry about tonight is Chris Lucky in that 42 machine. He was second fastest tonight by about 1/10 and a half over the rest of the field. We're going to continue to watch what he's able to do here during qualifying tonight. We do have a couple bounty-eligible drivers, including Richard Lucky. Richard's going to decide to take that EOL. Richard did hold the fastest lap during warm-ups tonight. So I fully expect that driver to work his way up through the field as the laps begin to tick down here at New Hampshire. Speaking of Chris Lucky, I'm sure he's going to be involved, and you should be too. Ohio Sim Racing is going to put on the All-Star race next Wednesday night at North Wilkesboro. That's July 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, right here on the SRN and the Ohio Sim Racing Facebook page. For more information, you can head on over to that Facebook page or ohiosimracing.com. That's going to be a great show. A lot of talk about how that's going to work out. There will be an open. You'll be able to race your way in, and then there'll also be a fan vote. A lot of hype around this race that'll happen here at North Wilkesboro just a week ago from this evening. Chris Lucky is bringing a slowdown down the entrance of turn 3. He's qualifying time of 31.399, good enough for second place. Wesley Gilliland, 31.510, that's good for third. And Dean Brummett just popping up on the pole there, wrapping up his fastest lap of 31.380. That is good enough for the pole position at the moment, with just about 2 minutes remaining in tonight's qualifying session. Dean Brummett still working on that second lap, trying to put up a quicker time. He's not going to be able to do it. That was a 31.7 to his fastest 31.3. Dean still on the pole here. Philip Ellis is going to start second based on the current configuration. Chris Lucky third. Wesley Gilliland, he's bringing that car to a slowdown as well. He's good for fourth. Hunter Combs fifth. There's only a couple drivers left to take time. Ryan Pelfrey, talking to Ryan nearing pre-race tonight. He's got a quick car, but not a whole lot of knowledge about how to get around here in New Hampshire. He's going to call qualifying to a close there. I tell you what, for a driver who just bought the track about 30 minutes ago, a 31.598 is really good. That's going to put him 6th on the board. We're going to keep an eye on that 99. 26 drivers tonight electing to come out and work their way around New Hampshire here for 100 laps of Ohio Sim Racing Xfinity action. And we appreciate you being here. This broadcast being simulcasted live across all of the SRN affiliates. That's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, as well as Ohio Sim Racing's Facebook page. We appreciate everybody tuning in. If you are new to the channels around here, do us a favor. Make sure you like, subscribe, and all the things you need to do to get notified anytime we go live with more racing action right here on the SRN and OSR Live. You're definitely not going to want to miss a lap. Monday night, if you missed it, exciting action in the Truck Series for OSR. A 5-lap side-by-side fight for the lead, ending in a bump and run on the last lap. We're going to find out tonight if the drivers of the Xfinity Series are able to compete with that level of excitement. As qualifying is wrapped up, and we're going to go right to grid. Let's take a look at tonight's results. As I mentioned, Dean Brummett, that 31.38 is going to be good for first. Philip Ellis is going to qualify second. Chris Lucky, Wesley Gilliland, Hunter Combs rounding out the top 5. Ryan Pelfrey, Jim Ott, Cody Jayberg is going to start 8th. Aaron Jackson 9th, Britt Van Meter 10th. Gary Williams, Brandon Thomas, Cody Ditto, Steven Prozer, and Chris Hockley going to start 15th. Kyle Finlayson, Jason Harrison, Chris Stewart, Timothy Likens, and Gregory Lemon Lime Valade is going to start 20th. Steve Schoaf, Matthew Helms, Richard Lucky, again, Richard eligible for the bounty tonight. He's the first driver in OSR history to win one, and he's going to have another opportunity to bring home a bounty tonight. You're going to see him starting in the rear, starting 23rd, Spencer Steinman starting 24th. Carrington Wilmer making his OSR Xfinity debut. He's going to start 25th. Jeffrey Knight, 26th. These drivers are rolling off the grid now. 1 lap to get these machines warmed up and ready to go here at New Hampshire. During the truck race, Monday night, the bottom of the racetrack, that bottom line was the most, it was the most used. It was the fastest way around here. You had to protect it. And if you weren't good there, you had to be pretty high in the racetrack. Right there, pretty much where Philip Ellis is. Pace car is going to duck down pit road. Dean Brummett is going to bring him to the green flag. Wednesday night action here in New Hampshire is underway. Brummett trying to hold off Ellis. That's for second place. They're 3 wide. All back about 5th or so, trying to sort it out as these drivers work their way down the backstretch for lap 1. Dean Brummett out to 2 car lengths now over Philip Ellis. Chris Lucky is 3rd with Gilliland. Hunter Combs rounding out the top 5. Some quick laps here as Cody Ditto dives it down onto the bottom. That's underneath Britt Van Meter. They're trying to hold it together here as they work through turn 3. Cody Ditto fighting off that 21 of Brandon Thomas, trying to get by him underneath. While Gary Williams and Aaron Jackson starts to work forward. Kyle Finlayson coming up into the mix as well. He's on the bumper. He's going to have to check up. He had a good run coming off of 2, but had nowhere to take it. In the meantime, you're not missing anything up front. Dean Brummett out to a 0.2 of a second lead. Looks like he had a little bit of a drive-off issue off of 2. Philip Ellis right there with him now as they roll these cars off into turn 1 on lap 4 of 100 here at New Hampshire. It's right on board that IK9 number 9 car of Philip Ellis as he works his way through turn 3. Steve Poser catching the wall there out of turn 4. But we're going to have a fight for the lead here. Oh, we got a car down on the inside into the wall out of 2. That looks like that's the machine of Wesley Gilliland. And green flag is still out. Wesley's able to get that car rolling. In the meantime, Dean Brummett able to hold off Philip Ellis here by about half a car length or so back and forth across the racetrack. Dean running that one groove up through 1 and 2. A driver that so far tonight is kind of held his own here is Chris Lucky. He's currently in 3rd. He is showing about 0.3 of a second off his best lap times there in warm-up here. I know the track, it is overcast and in the mid-70s for an air temp. Not quite sure what the warm-up session was at. That may be playing a factor here as Jim Ott starting to look on the outside. Jim's going to have the run as they come off of turn 4. Got him by a nose, and Lucky's going to let him by. Hunter Combs on that 8 car is also looking on the outside. Lucky is going to fall back to 5th. Speaking of the Luckies, we're going to take a look here now at the 41 machine of Richard Lucky. Started in 23rd tonight. On his way to try to get another bounty here for OSR with that cash and points on the line. He is working his way up through the field. He's passed 2 cars just while we've been watching. He's up to 14th. Aaron Jackson, Kyle Finlayson on the bumper of Cody Ditto here. As they roll through turn 2. Finlayson's going to have the run. He's going to get to the door of Aaron Jackson. This is for around 12th. Aaron getting tight, slides up the track a little bit. Finlayson goes with him. So we go back to the front here. Dean Brummett, he's under a little bit of pressure. Philip Ellis is right there on the bumpers. They roll out of 2. Ellis running about half a groove lower than Brummett that last time through. Got right to the bumper here. Half a car length on Dean. Just rolling that car. Tires are important here. It's a relatively flat racetrack. Not a whole lot of banking across the turns. So you're going to lean on your right front a lot. Try to manage the car, manage how it gets tight here throughout the race. Once we get done with tonight's event, we'll certainly be talking to the drivers about the handling of these machines. And Dean Brummett's just trying to hang on. Philip Ellis right on the bumper lap after lap. They come across the stripe here to begin lap 12. These 2 drivers broken out to about a 2-second gap between Ellis and Ott in 3rd. Hunter Combs is back there, though. He's starting to feel a little bit of pressure from Cody Jaber. Cody repping that 22 machine tonight in the Goodrich scheme. I believe we'll see him at the All-Star event at North Wilkesboro next week. .37 machine is Spencer Steinman, Cody Ditto. Little side-by-side action as they come across the stripe. Cody able to make a pass for 9th. Ryan Pelfrey trying to hold both these drivers off. Steinman's able to get by Ditto there, going through turn 2. He's going to set sail, try to get a hold of Pelfrey. In the meantime, Britt Van Meter, he is up to 7th. Chris Lucky has fallen back to 6th tonight after starting near the front in that 42 Toyota. Richard Lucky underneath Ryan Pelfrey here. He is quickly marching through the field. He is in now the top 10 as he gets a nose past Pelfrey. Pelfrey going to ride about a line higher and let him by. Richard really fast at this racetrack here tonight. Some 3/10 faster than the majority of the field through the warm-up session. As he begins to work his way towards Spencer Steinman here. Richard again, a multi-race winner with the Xfinity cars here with OSR. Also the first bounty winner in OSR history this season. Showing he can get it done on a bank track, on a flat track, on a road course. It doesn't matter, that 41 machine's been fast, and he's continuing to show that tonight at a track which I hear is one of his favorites. We'll keep an eye on that story as he, again, continues to run down Spencer Steinman. As we're working our way through the fields, you've not really missed anything. Up front, that's Dean Brummett, Philip Ellis 1-2 right now. Philip almost riding in the tracks of Brummett right now. Both running near identical lap times. Again, let's ride on board with Ellis through this next lap. Lifting pretty early here, trying to get these cars to rotate through the corner as much as they can. They want to overdrive it and heat up those tires. You hear Ellis really lifting early in these cars. Richard Lucky now working his way up past 8th, getting by Spencer Steinman. A lot of these drivers, you can tell lap times are starting to fall off. About a second now from new tires as we've got 20 laps of green flag action on those Goodyear Eagles here in New Hampshire. They will want to stop and get 4 fresh tires, but it's all going to come down to race strategy. Will there be a caution or will we go green flag? There is a, they will have to stop for fuel tonight. 80 laps is about the fuel window for these drivers, but stopping early is not going to cost you a whole lot. If anything, if you play it right, you could stop early and take advantage of those new tires. While the leaders are running 32.5s, Richard Lucky, with a little bit of open track here in front of him, is running 32.2s consistently on his way to catch Britt Van Meter. Coming into the picture there now is Richard Lucky as we were following the group of Chris Lucky, Cody Jayberg, Britt Van Meter. Those drives starting to find it out. Lucky underneath the 22 of Jayberg coming across the stripe. That 42 car, as you see, trying to rotate the bottom a little bit more than the rest of these drivers. Chris is no stranger to tire savings. Maybe able to make that car stick a little bit better than everybody else. As you see, he slides up in front of Hunter Combs. That's back for 4th. And there it is, the pass. That's going to be for 7th right there, as Richard Lucky works underneath Britt Van Meter. Richard Lucky again started tonight 23rd or so back there. He took it to get well for an opportunity to bring home a bounty win. Still got a long way to go still here at New Hampshire, but he's setting sail. Starting 23rd, he's up to 7th. And looking underneath, Cody Jayberg for 6th. We were talking about pit strategy. We're starting to see it here. Brandon Thomas, the first driver on the lead lap to come down pit road to take 4 fresh tires. Looks like Cody Ditto may have also joined him. He did. Wesley Gilliland is also on pit road taking fresh tires. This is early for these guys who want to take advantage of the fresher tires. They will be about a second and a half faster than the rest of the field for a couple laps, as they're going to blend back out on the racetrack. Richard Lucky up to the top 5 now. He's currently in 5th as he's on his way to catch his brother's bumper in 4th. Still not missing anything up front except Dean Brummett starting to run into some lap traffic here. Tim Likens on the outside in that red, white, and blue paint scheme. Tim's going to kindly move out of the way and let Dean by as he goes a lap down. Dean has stretched that lead out to half a second over Philip Ellis. However, he's got to know that Chris and Richard Lucky are both coming. They're running 3/10, 4/10 a second, or 4/10 a lap faster than our leader. They just got to get there. The drivers that came down pit road, Cody Ditto, Brandon Thomas, Wesley Gilliland as well. We're going to follow that story and look at lap times in comparison to our leaders again as they really start to get into lap traffic here. Matthew Helms, he wants to stay on the lead lap, but Dean Brummett's coming in a hurry. He knows he's got to pick the lap times up with the Lucky Boys not far behind him. He's going to look underneath Helms there for position. Dean really rolling the bottom of this racetrack, or that bottom third groove there around New Hampshire here in that 25 Budweiser scheme. A Chevy leading the race tonight in the manufacturer's battle that's heating up with OSR. It's currently show in the top 5. 2 Chevys, 3 Toyotas. The first Ford is back near around, oh goodness, the first Ford back around 11th. Dean Brummett's going to have a little bit of breathing room, not as much lap traffic out in front of him here as he works to complete lap 31 of 100 at New Hampshire. Philip Ellis right behind him. These two still running about identical lap times. Philip Ellis just fell off the pace a little bit, working through that lap traffic. In the meantime, you see Jim Ott trying to get underneath Helms there. That's not for position. That's a lapping these guys. Jim really struggling around this lap traffic. He's boxed in on the backstretch. That's going to allow Lucky's to get caught up with him. Jim looking underneath now the 68 car. with Steve Proser. And he gets rolling again here. Gregory Valade, the newest driver to work down pit road. He's taking 4 fresh tires. While that strategy doesn't really look like it paid off to the dividends they were looking for, Brandon Thomas caught a lap down here. He's currently 23rd. And his lap times certainly aren't as quick as he was looking for tonight on that tire strategy. Kyle Finlayson right now, that 15 car is showing on pit road as well. Starting to see a lot of these faster drivers consider taking tires in the meantime. Chris Lucky is caught up to Jim Ott, now within 3 car lengths of him, with his brother Richard right on his tail. I tell you, looking at lap times over the last couple laps here, they have certainly started to stabilize. Not as much of a differential between our leader, Dean Brummett, and some of the fastest drivers on the track, including Chris and Richard here in 4th and 5th. Lap times now starting to fall within 0.2. As we work our way, nearing 40 laps here at New Hampshire. Chris Lucky is going to look underneath that 4 machine of Jim Ott. And Richard Lucky is going to follow. Jim and Richard, they're door-to-door working through turn 2. This is 4 position. And Richard's going to get into turn 3 a little bit better. Put Jim Ott back to 5th on lap 37. In lap time, starting to stabilize out here. That's the story Dean Brummett wants to hear. 38 laps on these tires so far. He wants them to start to have to work a little harder, but has he saved? Or did Philip Ellis really push him to the limit there? As Ellis has held on to an 0.8 of a second gap now for the last 15 laps or so. What has Dean Brummett got left in the tank here? Again, these drivers will have to stop for fuel before the end of this thing, but that is another 40 or so laps away. It's going to be all about tire management, because this racetrack doesn't have a whole lot of banking through each corner. Therefore, they're having to put a lot of wheel and roll the car through the corners here. Right on board with our leader, Dean Brummett, here for the next lap. You see Dean Brummett really working the wheel there. The car just not getting into the corner the way he would like. That 25 car showing signs of being really tight, not having a whole lot of nose grip. As Philip Ellis has started to reel him in here, 0.6 of a second now separate these drivers, now half a second. Philip Ellis on the move. That last time by 0.2 faster than our leader. Keep an eye if Brummett here is able to get through this lap traffic. He's going to look to the outside. Likens is going to be out there, but you got the 23 car underneath. He's going to be able to sort that out and get to the bottom of the racetrack. Just as much as Dean's got to fight this traffic, so does everybody behind him as they catch him as well. Philip Ellis working by Likens. But as you see, Lucky, both Richard and Chris now coming into the picture as they're back on the backstretch alongside with our leaders. That gap went from 4 seconds to 2.6 in the matter of 5 laps from our leader back to the Luckies in 3rd and 4th. Most of the rest of the field single filed out here. Everybody running their own race tonight as we went 43 laps of caution-free racing for the Ohio Sim Racing Group. Xfinity action right here on the SRN and OSR Live. If you're new to the channel, or if you're just tuning in, I'm Sean Fitz alongside producer John Long. We appreciate you being here for Wednesday night coverage. Dean Brummett, our leader, he's working his way down pit road. This was unexpected. You could definitely tell that car was not handling the way he would like it to. He's going to come down and take 4 tires. That's going to give the lead to Philip Ellis. Spencer Steinman also, he's worked his way up to the top 10. He is now on pit road as well. Several drivers trying to take advantage of those newer tires. So far, I've not really seen anybody able to use them to the advantage they would like. Spencer Steinman, he's merging back onto the track a little early here. Steinman, I'm hearing from pit road, has missed his box, and he's going to have to come back down once again. That's going to be a costly mistake for that 37 car. Not a mistake we like to see Steinman make, and it's not something he normally does. As you see, he brings it back down pit road, getting it woed down before the line. Philip Ellis, Chris Lucky, and Richard Lucky's lap times continue to be about the same here. Well, as I say that, it looks like the Luckies have really picked up the pace now, 0.6 of a second faster than our leader, Philip Ellis, as you see Dean Brummett, who gave up that lead to come down pit road. He's going to fight himself back onto the lead lap. Those fresher tires, he should be able to drive away from Philip Ellis here. In the meantime, though, Lucky, both Richard and Chris, they're on the move. Last time by, 0.5 of a second faster than Philip Ellis. That gap is now starting to really shrink. Less than a second back to Chris Lucky. Dean Brummett really showing some speed now on those newer tires. He's going to want to manage them as best he can here as we've not quite reached halfway in tonight's 100-lap event. That last time by, though, a blistering 31.7 on the lap time. That's a 1.5 seconds faster than the majority of the field and the first driver to break back off into the 31s after taking 4 fresh tires. Chris Lucky has caught Philip Ellis. A car length away there as they work their way out of turn 4. Who's going to cycle out to be the leader of tonight's event? Right now, Dean Brummett is not wanting to see a caution. He wants to be able to race his way back around. In the meantime, the driver of the 42 machine, after inheriting the lead, wouldn't mind seeing one now. He's underneath Philip Ellis down the backstretch. Chris able to rotate the bottom a lot better than Ellis that time by. We have a new leader on lap 49, Chris Lucky. See a lot of these drivers here, the 84 car, as well as the 29. They've got fresher tires than Philip Ellis, and they are certainly going to fight it for it as they're 3 wide down the backstretch. Certainly thought better of that. Ellis was going to ride high in that outside line. Let's run on board with Lucky. Oh, actually, he's going to duck down pit road. And so is Richard. Both drivers coming down pit road. That's going to leave Philip Ellis out there to inherit the lead once again. Jim Ott's going to be behind him about 5 seconds. Those two drivers have not come down pit road. In the meantime, though, Hunter Combs as well is going to cycle back into the top 5. So is Ryan Pelfrey. Those 5 drivers not taking tires yet. Our leader before these green flag pit stops started, Dean Brummett. And that 25 machine, he's working some fast paces around this New Hampshire racetrack right now. He's currently up to 7th. Trying to work by some lap traffic. As long as this all shakes out here, he should inherit the lead once Ellis, Ott, Combs, Pelfrey, and Van Meter come down pit road. Richard Lucky, a lap down there. He's going to race his way back onto the lead lap as he's going to pass Ellis into turn 1. Cody Ditto looks like he's going to follow in suit as well. Cody stopped early, trying to short pit this race. He's on 28 lap old tires. Looks like he's not going to be able to quite do it there. Hunter Combs on pit road right now, while Philip Ellis, Jim Ott, Ryan Pelfrey, Britt Van Meter, and Cody Jayberg have not taken tires yet. Dean Brummett up to 6th now, as Cody Jayberg comes down pit road. These drivers are now in the fuel window for tonight's event. To come down and take fuel, this will be the last time we'll see them. Green flag stops underway here with OSR Xfinity. Ditto still back to the bumper of Ellis, not giving up yet. He wants an opportunity to get back on the lead lap and avoid having to take the wave around. He'll want the chance to take 4 fresh Goodyears. He is in the lucky dog spot at the moment. And there you see it, Ellis. He's rolling down pit road. Take a look at Jim Ott and what he's able to do as Richard Lucky puts up a fast lap time. Saw that pop up that last time by at 31.5. That's the fastest of the night for Richard Lucky. Jim Ott, your new leader. He's not come down pit road. But Pelfrey, Van Meter, right behind him here. These only 3 drivers left to not cycle through tires for tonight's event. Ryan Pelfrey, that driver, again, I spoke to him earlier tonight. He showed some impressive speed here in that 99 car after he says he bought the track about 30 minutes ago. Wasn't going to be fast at all. While he's not yet pit, he is up to 2nd. Following our leader, Jim Ott, in that 4 car. Not coming down pit road. We'll watch Pelfrey. He's going to stay out as well. Britt Van Meter electing to stay out. They're all hoping for a caution. Dean Brummett, on the other hand, he's back here in 4th. He will inherit the lead once those drivers cycle through 14 laps on his tires. In the meantime, though, he's got to find some speed. Chris Lucky and Richard Lucky are right behind him, 0.2 of a second plus faster than he is. They are on the move here, and they have about 7 laps of newer tires on the move. We saw them really fall off around 30 laps on their tires, though. Will they catch Brummett before that hits? We're going to find out, as we are well past halfway. Actually, that was lap 59 of 100 in tonight's event. Wow, Oh, Lucky a little loose off the wall there. He got crammed up by Chris, and that looked like a lap car of Likens also involved there. That was a close call for the 41 car. They were able to navigate their way through. Jim Ott, lap 60 right now, still not stopped and taking tires. Neither is Ryan Pelfrey and Britt Van Meter. We're continuing to watch this. These drivers have stayed out. They're on the tires they started with so far tonight. They're begging for a caution. They're calling debris all over the racetrack here in New Hampshire. And Dean Brummett is going to muscle by Britt Van Meter right there to inherit that second place spot, or that third place spot. Dean is still on the move, running low 32-second lap times. Trying to fight his way through. If he can pass the rest of these drivers who have not pit yet, he'll be in a really good spot. He is going to cycle out in the lead. Once the rest of the field comes down. Eight cars on the lead lap. A lot of fast drivers all over this New Hampshire racetrack for OSR. Jim Ott is one of them. He's trying to play the strategy, though, in that Ford machine. But that strategy is quickly got to be looking at not going to work out for him, as Dean Brummett is moving behind him about a second faster. With Ryan, or I'm sorry, with the Luckies also coming, they're still running low 32s to high 31-second lap times. At what point do you come down pit road? And Ryan Pelfrey is getting past there by the 0-1-2 Aaron Jackson. Aaron right now, he's currently showing 13th. Your race for the lead is right here on the backstretch. It's going to be Dean Brummett and Chris and Richard Lucky, as the Luckies start to close the gap back to Dean Brummett. Now they're less than, looks like they're less than a second away. I'm sorry, it's less than 2 seconds away, rather. It's right on board with Jim Ott. Managing that car as it slides through the exit of turn 4. Keeping it off early, or getting off the corner early. Or off the gas early, really trying to work the car around. Not use as much tire, doesn't want to heat that right front up. We've got a fight for third back here. Richard Lucky got a better corner off of his brother Chris right there off of turn 2. Tucked back in behind him though, but there's Richard really sailing the nose down. Half a car length as they come across the stripe to complete lap 67. Sorry, that's the complete lap 66 rather. Jim Ott got to be bumping against that fuel window. About 80 laps or so here. He's got 68 laps on those tires. Meantime, Britt Van Meter, he was in the top 5 there for the longest. He finally's come down pit road, taking 4 tires of fuel. He's good for the rest of the race. Gonna come out 13th or so. Green flag action here at New Hampshire for the drivers of OSR. A Wednesday night coverage here on SRN Live as well as Ohio Sim Racing's Facebook page. Glad you tuned in tonight. We're definitely going to want to see you next Wednesday night as the drivers of OSR take on North Wilkesboro for the All-Star Race, July 22nd at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on SRN and OSR Live Facebook. Not going to want to miss that. There's a lot of format discussion happening right now, including an open and race in to the next session, as well as a fan vote. For more information, you can head on over to OhioSimRacing.com or check out Facebook for OSR. Jim Ott finally decided to come down pit road. I believe that was one of our last holdouts here. Dean Brummett is going to inherit the lead on lap 71. Dean Brummett, though, has got a decent gap. About 3 seconds back to Chris Lucky. Lap times are about a 10th different here. This is about the point where we've seen Chris and Richard start to slow up a little bit on lap times. Did not quite have it for about 30 laps or so. Dean Brummett, though, right now is showing 28 laps on those tires. One of the earlier drivers to come down. That last time by Chris Lucky, though. 0.3 of a second a lap faster than our leader. Is right on board Chris now, as he's got 22 laps on these tires here. Let's see how that car is driving so far. Unlike the trucks on Monday night, these Xfinity cars not downshifting. They've got a little bit of a higher gear. A lot more power underneath these big stock cars. You hear the car, and you see it through the windshield as well. The car sliding up the track. Shows you how tight these cars are, and these drivers really having to let them just kind of float across the racetrack. And the more wheel you put into it, the tighter it's going to get, the more you're going to run off and heat up that right front tire. And you're starting to see it here. Dean Brummett and Chris Lucky. Chris is down to 1.8 seconds on our leader. You see Kyle Finlayson working his way around Dean Brummett. And with impressive fashion. That's because Finlayson just came off pit road after taking 4 tires. So far, 76 laps of green flag action here in New Hampshire. A lot of talk across the OSR community this week about how this track was probably going to be tough, and there'll be a couple drivers that was quick. Oh, we've got a caution on the racetrack. Aaron Jackson missing a hood, undoubtedly involved in that. The first caution of the night brought out on lap 77. This is going to really shake things up here. Let's take a look and find out exactly what happened to Aaron Jackson. Down the backstretch, looks like he's got Chris Lucky behind him. Jayberg in that 22 car. Lucky took it 3 wide. Oh, Jayberg involved in that as well. Richard Lucky able to avoid it, but that's some serious damage to that 012 car of Aaron Jackson. Again, green flag racing so far tonight. All over the racetrack. And this is really going to shake some things up as these drivers come down pit road, led by Dean Brummett, Chris Lucky, Richard Lucky, Philip Ellis. They're bringing the whole crew down. 4 tires and no fuel. These drivers should be good to go the rest of the way. We're going to watch the race off pit road here. Philip Ellis, will he be able to take advantage of that second spot on pit road? Dean Brummett's going to roll off first. Ellis still sitting on pit road. Ellis having some trouble there, it looks like. It's going to be Chris Lucky, followed by Richard Lucky. So Jim Ott right now is inheriting the lead. 7 laps on those tires. You saw we were talking about him earlier. He really ran out the clock on these guys, staying out as long as he possibly could as some of the lapped out traffic now works their way down pit road. Jim Ott's going to inherit the lead. Dean Brummett is currently second. Chris Lucky third. Richard Lucky rather. Philip Ellis rounding out the top 5. Brent Van Meter going to work his way down pit road as well. Ryan Pelfrey, after staying out for a while there, he's going to inherit the 7th place. Actually, once he gets by pit road here, unless he comes down, he's going to move up to 6th. And Philip Ellis, again, a slow stop on pit road, picking up that 5th place spot. Couple drivers looking for the wave around here to get back a lap, as several cars are a lap down. That looks like Kyle Finlayson back there, as well as Cody Ditto and a couple others. They may get stuck here, actually, with Jim Ott electing to stay out. Yeah, it looks like Jim's going to stay out there, so there will not be any wave arounds. We will see the 2 car, I believe, take the wave around here. He was actually in front of Ott prior to that caution came out. That's Jason Harrison showing a lap down. He should be able to get around Ott here with the 1 to go. Again, if you're new to the coverage tonight, or your first time tuning in, we appreciate you being here. SimRacingNews.net's live coverage of Xfinity action for Ohio Sim Racing right here on the SRN network, bringing you live coverage to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, as well as Ohio Sim Racing's Facebook page. Speaking of getting laps back, Brent Van Meter looks like he's played that pretty well, too. He was calling for a caution on the scanner a little while ago. He is your lucky dog. I believe he's going to cycle out in the top 10 after all that as well. You see the pace, you see those orange lights off the pace car. That iRacing themed Ford Mustang are turned off. These drivers are getting side by side, ready to go green flag racing back here in New Hampshire. The next time they cross the stripe, they'll have less than 20 laps to get the job done. Dean Brummett, Jim Ott. Jim electing to take the outside. The Lucky Brothers on row 2. Ryan Pelfrey, Philip Ellis, row 3. We're going to see if Jim Ott can make that outside line work. All the patience is out the window now. These drivers are not worried about tires. They just want to go out and get the win. We're going to see what happens here as the 4 car is the control vehicle. Pace car is going to duck down pit road. Jim Ott gets a decent jump off of turn 4. 5 car lengths now back to Dean Brummett. That's Richard Lucky on the outside. Lucky really diving it in there. Jim Ott not able to take that corner as fast that time. Lucky holding Dean Brummett on the bottom. They're side by side. Richard Lucky out by a nose. Dean Brummett trying to hang on the bottom. He's still on the inside. Richard really going to use that outside line to his advantage on some speed. Able to get by Brummett. Chris Lucky now looking on the bottom. Oh, caught out of shape, tapping the wall back there. I believe that's Cody Ditto. That was Cody Ditto. That tail was really happy off of turn 2. They're 3 wide. And there it is. We just saw the pass for the lead. With just 16 to go, Richard Lucky gets by Jim Ott. Dean Brummett able to get by Ott as well. That is about the best thing Ott could do for Brummett. Whoa, big dive bomb there. They're 3 wide back here. Pelfrey involved. Jim Ott really starting to slide back as Ellis is underneath him. Spencer Steinman back in the picture. In the meantime, Richard Lucky, he sets out. Oh, Ryan Pelfrey knows it again to the left. He was able to save it and keep it out of the grass. Dean Brummett really pushing that car now, trying to hang on to the bumper of Richard Lucky. He knows he doesn't have a whole lot of laps left to get back caught up with the fast Lucky up front. Richard elected to take the bounty that last time, or this race tonight rather. He started at the back of the field, 23rd. He's now leading this race, setting the fastest lap of the race on lap 87. I'm sorry, that's lap 85 rather. We are on lap 86, working to lap 87. 85 laps into this event. Richard Lucky sets a 31.499. Nearing 0.8 of a second away back from Dean Brummett. Richard has really set sail, and that caution paid dividends for him. Able to get the field bunched back up on those new tires. Really driving away from Dean Brummett. Your leader on the restart, Jim Ott, getting passed by Kyle Finlayson and a couple others back here. As producer John called it, he's got a parachute out the window, falling through the field. Now back to 7th. Those older tires really not working out for him on that restart. Richard Lucky able to get away to a 0.7 of a second lead, but Dean Brummett has started to hold that a little bit. Dean looked to try to be within striking distance as laps start to wind down. 11 to go. Richard Lucky again, one of the fast drivers here with OSR. The first bounty winner in OSR history. And tonight is no different. He's got the bounty. He's bounty eligible. Called it prior to the race. He's looking for a little extra cash and points for today, or this season's championship. Tell you what, he gets it done anywhere we go. Intermediate track, a flat track like this, a road course. Richard Lucky can make it happen. Now out to a second lead over Dean Brummett. Chris Lucky 3rd, Philip Ellis 4th, Hunter Colbs 5th. Spencer Steinman looking underneath Cody Ditto right there. That's not for position. Cody a lap down. Steinman's got to work by Jim Ott for the next spot. 9 laps to go. Lap times up front between Richard Lucky and Dean Brummett have stabilized here again. I'm sorry, no, Richard Lucky, 0.2 of a second faster than Dean Brummett that last time by. Richard continuing to pull away. We talked about it earlier in the race. It takes about 20-25 laps for Richard to kind of stabilize. Those tires really start to fall off. He got caught back in the field, especially back behind brother Chris a little while ago, but that restart really paying dividends to Richard Lucky. He was able to make some moves and get past Jim Ott, Dean Brummett. As they come across the stripe with 7 to go. This is pole position right here. Jim Ott side by side with Spencer Steinman. Ott's gonna let Steinman on by. That was for 6. I'm sorry, that's for 7. Ryan Pelfrey is currently running 6th. Hunter Combs running good in 5th right now. Got to be a solid run for Hunter tonight. He's looking to just try to finish a clean one after a couple weeks of frustration. Richard Lucky now. He's pretty much on cruise control. 1.7 seconds ahead of Dean Brummett in 2nd place. The laps are just going to run out before we see Richard Lucky start to fall off the pace a little bit. Those lap times stabilize. He's still running 1 to 2 tenths faster than 2nd place. He's even running 2 tenths faster than his brother Chris Lucky. Five laps to go here at New Hampshire as you see some lap traffic in front of Richard. Just enough laps to probably catch the majority of that group, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Dean Brummett's got to pray for a miracle, and Richard Lucky is not the slipping up type. Let's ride on board. Richard sawing out the wheel there, that car. Probably a little snap loose. These tires start to show a little bit of wear. He's trying to get that thing to rotate as much as he can. As he works by Likens there coming across the stripe. 3 laps to go here at New Hampshire. Dean Brummett looking out the windshield. He's got to work by that lap traffic. Nine cars on the lead lap. Two laps to go here with Richard Lucky leading after that caution and that restart with 19 to go. Final lap underway here in New Hampshire. Tell you what, Richard Lucky, one of the most humblest drivers you'll hear on any broadcast and in any league. As we mentioned earlier, able to get it done on any type of track. Road course, banks track, or a track just like New Hampshire. Richard Lucky has scored your winner tonight on Wednesday Night Live OSR action. Congratulations to Richard Lucky on that win. Dean Brummett, not the finish he was looking for. A second place there. Chris Lucky's going to round out that top 3. As Chris drives alongside his brother for a little bit of a tap there. These cars drive by Mr. Lucky to congratulate him on the win. Let's take a look at tonight's results. Again, Richard Lucky scored your winner. Dean Brummett, Chris Lucky, Philip Ellis, Hunter Colb's 5th, Ryan Pelfrey, Spencer Steinman, Jim Ott, Brent Van Meter, Cody Ditto, bringing home 10th place tonight. Kyle Finlayson, Carrington Wilmer, his first start tonight in the Xfinity action, finishing 12th. Wesley Gilliland, Steve Schoaf, Jason Harrison, rounding out the top 15. Brandon Thomas, 16th. Aaron Jackson, after getting tangled up in that wreck, he is going to finish 17th tonight. Gary Williams, Gregory Valade, and Chris Stewart rounding out the top 20. As Richard Lucky burns it down on the front stretch, we're going to step away for just a moment, get ready for some post-race action right after this. And we're back with live coverage of Xfinity action here for the Ohio Sim Racing League on the SRN Network. Going to talk to second place tonight, Mr. Dean Brummett. Dean, I tell you what, at first there it really looked like that was going to cycle out to your favor towards the end of this race, but that caution certainly didn't help.
No, caution definitely didn't help. I was sitting there just kind of watching lap times and just trying to save tires as much as I could and, just hope, the race had a good green run looking to it. And I was thinking, okay, maybe we might accidentally have a shot with it, and just kept going and going. And when I saw that caution come out, my heart just kind of dropped into my chest. I was like, we got to give it everything we have. And, still great race, led a bunch of laps tonight. This team's really come a long way slowly, just from consistent top 10 to top 5 to top 4 and now top 3s. And hopefully we can put together that dub real soon.
Yeah, absolutely, Dean. And it looked like around a 30-lap run, you definitely started to stabilize and be one of the fastest drivers on the track. Talk to us about the handling of the car. I know that last 20-lap run, it did not work in your favor. Was the car just not where you wanted it to be on those new tires? Were you a long-run driver here tonight?
For sure, definitely is. The runs got a little bit longer. It really, really helped. The right front just on fresher tires just didn't really want to feel like it wanted to do what I wanted to. It felt hard. Just didn't feel like it was in the track real good. But after about, like you said, 25, 30 laps, it really started to come in. And like I said, I was just hoping that with that potential long run to the end that it was going to be able to bring it home. But like I said, I'm not going to complain too much about a second place finish and get ready to go into the All-Star race next week and give it another shot.
As he mentioned, second place tonight. Obviously not the win he was looking for, but nothing to complain about. Congratulations, Mr. Dean Brummett.
Sure, and congrats, Mr. Lucky, on your win.
Speaking of, we're going to go right over to our winner, Richard Lucky, tonight. A dominating season for Richard Lucky here with OSR, but another bounty in the books. Richard, talk to us about the drive through the field and how the car felt overall. It looked like you, as I mentioned, you kind of started to fall flat a little bit at about 30 laps, whereas Dean was a little bit faster, but I'm sure that caution really helped here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you come from the back, you kind of count on a caution no matter what track we're at to kind of punch the field back up so you have a chance. these flat tracks like Pocono, Indianapolis, and then here, and like Martinsville, just the flat tracks tend to really suit my driving style the best. But there at the beginning of the race, I just followed Steinman all the way through there, and he was kind of moving them out of the way, and then I would just drive on by. That helped me save the right front tire, and then once we got up to like 8th or 9th, as soon as I got a run on Spencer, he let me have it, and then I looked up and I just kind of could see the top 3 or 4, and just kept kind of plugging away. I know that's when you see those guys, it's going to be a lot harder to run them down than a lot of the other guys. Philip Ellis, Chris Lucky, Dean Brummett. I mean, Hunter Combs, Pelfrey, they're all really, really fast. And then I think Steinman made a mistake on pit road. If it weren't for that, he'd have been up there too. So it was just a good night, and caution went my way, and then I got to restart on the outside there. And once again, things just kind of went my way. It's not all speed.
Speaking of going your way, let's rewind a little bit back to around lap 76 or so. You, Chris Lucky, obviously, and it looked like, I believe that was Cody Jaber get tangled up a little bit in turn 3 and 4. How much did your heart drop there when you had to dive to the bottom and miss all that?
Oh man, I wasn't sure where he went, and then when he hit the wall, he like net coded and disappeared for a second. So then I let off the brake, and then he appeared again. I jammed the brakes back on, but yeah, I thought my race was over at that point, and just thankful. I don't know if I drove through him and got lucky, or if I actually avoided him. I mean, it was just close either way. So after that, I was just playing on house money and just glad to finish the race wherever I ended up.
Richard Lucky bringing home another win tonight here with OSR Xfinity action at New Hampshire, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you next week, sir.
Yep, thank you, Sean.
Absolutely. Richard Lucky again scored your winner tonight. For the event here, OSR Wednesday night coverage on the SRN. We're going to go ahead and start wrapping things up here. If you want to find out more information about Ohio Sim Racing, you can head on over to www.ohiosimracing.com. You can also look on Facebook, Ohio Sim Racing League. All the information is there, including the up-and-coming the All-Star race. It's going to happen next Wednesday night. That's right. We are going to be racing for some fun here July 22nd, North Wilkesboro Speedway, with the drivers of OSR. You're going to want to head on over to Facebook to not miss any of the details about that. On behalf of producer John Long, I'm your host, Sean Fitz, and the SRN. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you next week for Wednesday night All-Star action right here on the SRN. Good night.
Chase Elliott.